Okay, we got something really fun that we're gonna do today, everybody. I've got a whole ribeye roast here. I've got this new jig I got from 270 Smokers that is gonna allow me to slice perfect 1 3/16 inch steaks all the way across. So got this prime rib roast from, ribeye roast from HEB, and my jig set up. I've got my slicer here. So once we get them all cut and going, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay them out, and I'm gonna show you, like, okay, if I was at a steak contest and I was selecting my steak, which steak would I pick? Quite honestly, I'm gonna show you, if I was at home and I was just cooking for me and I wanted to eat the best ribeye in the bunch, I'll show you which ones I would pick then too. So this is going to be, on this end, is going to be what I consider the best end, because the smallest spinalis is gonna be over on this end. This is gonna have the most of that spinalis type muscle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line this up. We're gonna square this up, and we're gonna do that by cutting this first cut off, and this is gonna make all of this steak square from here. So I'm gonna put the very end right here against where this first line is, and everything on this side of it is just gonna be trimming. We're gonna turn this into ground beef. So it's got a little bit of a squeak to it. This is my first time using this jig. I've wanted one for a long time. And we'll get used to the nuances. So this is what we're looking at for our first piece. This is now squared off on the edge. This is a prime ribeye from HEB, and that is some good looking meat right there. So that's gonna be the very first trim piece that we're gonna have. We're gonna get a lot of trim pieces out of this, which is gonna be a lot of ground beef. So like, this is a 17, almost 18 pound rib roast here. I think it was like $19.90 a pound, $20 a pound. So it was a $350 rib roast. We'll count how many steaks we get out of it, and we'll kind of measure that up when we're all done. And then we'll figure out how much ground beef we're gonna be able to get out of it as well. So let's go ahead and do our first steak here. And all we have to do is just stay within the guide. It's gonna guide the knife down. Your cut's gonna be straight. It's gonna be square from top to bottom, as long as you keep it in the guide. And there's gonna be our first steak. You can see that it's same thickness on both sides. So let's cut another one here just for fun. All right. There's the next one. So once this is all done, we're gonna lay these out and we're gonna walk through the steps. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting this all the way down through. And then once we're done with that, we'll come back and we'll take a look at the steaks and we'll see which ones we like best. Okay, so now we've got these all cut up, they're sliced up. So this was what I considered at the good end. I'll show you this in a second. So it goes from largest spinalis to smallest spinalis. So let's take a little bit closer look at some of these and what I talk about when I'm thinking about what I like and what I don't like necessarily. So first of all, I really like this prime meat. This is a really great prime steak or prime rib roast from HEB. So you see right here, this is all good spinalis meat, good muscle right here. This all right in here, this whole section right in here is going to be very, very tender. And then you get to the eye right here. So when I cut this and when I trim this up for a steak contest, I'm going to trim it across here, and then I'm going to trim some of this up in here, but it's going to leave lots of this really good tender meat that we can choose from. So you can see there's a nice big spinalis to choose from in that one. This next one, as we go to it, you see it just gets a little bit smaller, not much. This muscle here gets a little bit smaller, and then everything kind of stays the same here. So another really good choice here. And you can see as we go down the line, that spinalis section just gets smaller and smaller as we go. So this one really clean and uniform. These are all still really good. I would still pick any of these. Really right up into here would be my top choices for a contest. I would probably, quite honestly, I would go between these two I like most for a steak contest for various reasons. But you can see the spinalis there. And then the difference as we get down into this area, you can see the spinalis starts to really wrap around. Less fat down in here, but the spinalis gets shorter up in here. So, you know, you trim this thing, you trim all of this off right here. You would turn this into the judges facing this way, so they would have lots of choice of spinalis. So then as we continue to go down, you can see just as it gets smaller and smaller, right? So this one wraps around a little bit more, goes a little bit further down. This one ends sooner and it's a little bit thinner until we get all the way down to the very end piece. And you can see there's just very little spinalis left compared to, let's take this one right here. You can see the good part is right here. The good part here is right here. That's kind of where the money is in a steak contest. Overall, I'm really, really happy with the 270, the jig that I got from 270. What I ended up with trimmings for this is right here. This is gonna go into ground beef, as well as when I trim each one of these and trim this part off, that's gonna go into ground beef. You can see this one has a lot of muscle on it. This one has a lot of meat on it. As we go down and get down to the further, I'm gonna trim this out. I'll use some of the fat, of course, to mix into the ground beef. You know, it'll be like a 70-30, probably 75-25 ground beef, but I'm gonna use most of that. This is it's you know, it's ribeye. It already has, you know, a lot of fat in it already, so I don't need to add a lot to it. But I'm definitely gonna take this and add a bunch for trimming. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 steaks out of this thing. I'm not gonna count that. We got 13 steaks out of this thing. This one may end up as ground beef as well. So we've got 13 steaks. We're gonna end up with probably close to 2 pounds of ground beef out of this for $350, all prime. That, quite honestly, is how you win the damn weekend. Okay, so what we ended up with was 14 steaks, right? Kind of that 14th one, I ended up grinding it in because it just didn't cut even on the end. It was my own fault. So really, we ended up with 13 ribeyes, great ribeyes, all prime ribeyes. And then we ended up with 3 pounds of ground beef out of this. So this is gonna be excellent ground beef. We've done this before. It's awesome in tacos and anything else that you may do. This is what we did. This is the result of that. We had our whole butchering process table going on here. We got it all butchered up, processed, ready to go. Some of this is going in the freezer, some of it's going in the fridge, some of it's going into tacos. All of it means we win the damn weekend.